Hi, I'm John Andrews. You might remember me from such speeches as My Life as an Underground Commodities Dealer. Little Troy McClure reference for you Simpson fans out there, but that speech is actually how I was introduced to most of the world. It's the speech that made me somewhat famous. If you haven't seen that speech, keep scrolling down to the comments section, I will post it there. But there's a very long and interesting story behind that speech. It didn't just happen. In fact, it almost didn't happen. And I'd like for you to hear that story now, because there are two big lessons you can take away from it. Back in September of 2015, I wrote the third speech of my speaking career. I called it Laughing at Death, and I was going to enter it into the humorous speech competition. Now, about 2 days before the first level of competition, that's the club level, I changed the title to My Life as an Underground Commodities Dealer. Now, the speech was very different from the one you probably know and love. I mean, the opening and closing were completely different, but the core stories were all there, and the message was effectively the same. There's a time and a place for everything. Specifically, there's a time and a place to laugh at everything. Well, anyways, club contest came along. My club loved it. I won the competition. On to the second level of competition, area. I made a few updates to the speech in preparation of the area contest, and when I got there, the crowd watched my speech like this. They did not enjoy it. I came second at that area competition. I won one of these silver medals behind me, but I was really disappointed. I thought that speech deserved much better. My club said, John, please do it for us one more time. We'd love to see the updated version. I did. They loved it again. And I said, okay, that's it for this speech. I have done it for the last time. It's retired. On to new things. Now fast forward to February of 2016. I was the MC of an area level international speech competition, and I was on. I had a great show. I blew that audience away. I had them howling. I stole the show, which you shouldn't do as an MC, but it's what I did. Anyways, I had one lady laughing so hard, she came up to me afterwards and said, I'm a division director somewhere else, and I'm running an evaluation contest. Would you please be the test speaker there? Psh, great. It's an honor to be asked to be a speaker. I will definitely do it. But then I had a problem. I've only ever written 3 speeches in my career at this point. What speech am I going to bring to that competition? Eventually I said, well, you know what? I got her attention tonight because I made her laugh. Why don't I bring my most humorous speech to her competition, My Life as an Underground Commodities Dealer? So I made a few changes. I got to that room that had about 100 people in it, and I gave my speech, and they loved it. Lots of loud laughs. Plus, it was an evaluation contest, so they gave me feedback on how to make it better. And I thought, oh, you know what? This fall, I need to take all this feedback, work it into my speech, and bring an even better humorous speech to that competition. So fall rolls around, I am giving the speech again, I win it at the club level, I get to the second level, the area level, and I came second again. Another silver medal. I once again had 20 horrified faces staring at me as I gave that speech. Well, apparently this speech does really well in big rooms, not so well in small rooms. And the problem with competition is in order to get to those big rooms, you have to win in smaller rooms. Alright, well, now the speech is really retired. I know I said it was retired 1 year ago, but now it's really retired. I'm not doing this again. So that was the very disappointing fall of 2016. Skip ahead to the summer of 2017. I'm district champion. I'm preparing to go to Vancouver for the Toastmasters International Convention, and that's when they spring this little bit of news on me. You can't do the same speech in the final that you gave in the semifinal, assuming you win. You have to walk into this convention with 2 speeches prepared. Just in case you win your semifinal, you need to do a completely different speech in the final. Well, now what am I going to do? I've only ever written 11 speeches in my career. What am I going to do if I win my semifinal? Then I get the idea, maybe I can get My Life as an Underground Commodities Dealer ready, and in the off chance that I win my semifinal, I'll get to do it in a very big room, and we'll see how that does. But really, what are the odds? Well, I think you know what happened. I won my semifinal, and I went on to do My Life as an Underground Commodities Dealer in the final. And that was the big room it needed. There were 2,400 people there, and You can hear how loud the laughter is on the video. Standing on stage, that laughter was deafening. It was the biggest reaction of the night, and it was by far the most laughs I've gotten in my career. So what are the 2 lessons you can take away from this story? Well, number 1 is never abandon a speech. There were a couple of times in that story where I thought I have given this speech for the last time, and then I wound up giving it again. So if you're the type of person who prepares a speech, delivers it at your club, and then completely forgets about it, stop doing that. Keep your notes, keep your recording of the speech, and you never know when you'll get to use it again. Perhaps you'll use it in a competition, or maybe you'll get the opportunity to turn that 5-minute speech into a 30-minute keynote address. Just a few more explanations here, bit more detail there, boom, your little speech is now a big speech that you can turn around and give to a big crowd. Never, ever abandon a speech. And the second lesson you need to learn from that story is that sometimes the biggest problem with your speech has nothing to do with you, and it has nothing to do with the speech itself. Sometimes the biggest problem with your speech is actually the audience. Look, I gave that speech roughly 7 times over the course of 2 years. Twice it died at those 2 area contests. 4 times it killed. And the 7th time, it blew the roof off the place. What was different? Was I just becoming better as a speaker? Kind of. Was the speech getting better because I kept working on it? Kind of. But you would expect that audience reaction as a function of time for a speech would go something like this. Just steadily gets better over time, right? Well, that speech went more like this. Whoops. Whoops. Woohoo! What changed? Different audiences reacted to that speech differently. Sometimes the biggest problem with your speech is actually the audience. Have you ever seen a stand-up comedian end his act with, "Thank you, you've been an excellent crowd"? That's not a cliche, it's not just a script, it's not just something you say to end your act. Comedians really understand that a good crowd could mean a world of difference in how your material is accepted. So if your speech gets a bad reaction, consider that it might actually be the audience. Now, don't immediately jump to that conclusion every single time. At least consider it. Then take your speech, rework it a little bit, refine your own skills as a speaker, and then give that speech at another place to a different crowd. See how it works there, because it might be that the biggest problem with your speech is actually the audience. So the 2 big takeaways from my story are, number 1, never abandon a speech. And number 2, sometimes the biggest problem with your speech is the audience. So keep it tuned here to lastrites.com for more speaking tips. That's last-writes.com. And together we, that's you and I, we will lay boring speeches to rest by giving them the last rites.